Welcome back to Dead Good Book Reviews. I'm Judith, and today I'm bringing you my September TBR. I'd kind of forgotten that it was the end of a month and the start of a new one, and that meant I had to film videos, and now suddenly that's having to happen. So hello, welcome. Thank goodness it's a bank holiday weekend. If I sit down, am I totally out of frame? There we go, that's better. I have 22 books on my September TBR. Some of them are quite shameful, and we'll come on to that as we go on. So, first things I want to talk about are review copies that I have to read this month. So far, there are only 2, and it's a little bit touch and go. I'm filming this on the 29th of August, so I don't know if I will have finished any of these beforehand. It's always a bit touch and go with these things. So I have a review copy of one book, so before I read that, I need to read the predecessor. This is The Name of All Things by Jen Lyons, to prepare for reading The Memory of Souls, also by Jen Lyons. This is book 2 and 3 in the Chorus of Dragons series. I have just finished this morning Ruin of Kings, and you can watch my vlog from this week to hear about how that went. But yes, these are kind of big, epic, kind of mindfuck fantasy books, and I'm excited to get to them. They are very hefty, so I'm hoping I can get a lot of reading done before the start of next month to get those done. Then the other review copy that I still have to read is Unconquerable Sun by Kate Elliott. This, I don't think I will have talked about in my... No, I wouldn't have done, because I hadn't had it yet. But this is a Alexander the Great but space opera book that I'm very excited to read. I just couldn't quite get my head in the right place for sci-fi at the moment, so I'm hoping that that will twist as the month goes on. If you want to hear more about that in detail, in a good way, Justine has a video. I will put it there. I think there. So yes, those are the words, phrases, names. Those are the review copies that I'm going to be reading. Probably too ambitiously pulled out some rereads. So I have my 5 rereads from my rereads jar, which are Inheritance by Christopher Paolini. Yep, we're adding to the pile of very big books. I'm not really that fussed anymore. This is book 4 in the Inheritance cycle, which is the Eragon books. I haven't read this for quite some time, but I am looking forward to reading it again. I can't talk too much about this because it's book 4 in a series. I remember liking this, though being a bit bummed out by the ending, but so were many. Then I have Once and Future by Amy Rose Capetta and Corey McCarthy. This is gay King Arthur in space, so we're getting some sci-fi on this list. I read the sequel Sword in the Stars fairly recently, beginning of quarantine kind of time, and didn't love it. Interested to reread this. This is kind of my Hail Mary, do I keep this or do I get rid of it kind of moment, knowing that I didn't like the second one. Am I going to want to keep this around? Then I have a book that I'm very excited to reread. I have The Girl in the Tower by Catherine Arden. This is book 2 in the Winter Night trilogy, so it's the sequel to The Bear and the Nightingale, which I have reread. I think it came out of my reread jar at the start of the year. So I've read it recently enough that I don't want to go back all the way to the beginning. I'm just going to kick in with this. If I remember correctly, I think I've only read this once. Maybe I reread it for Winter of the Witch. I can't remember. But I think the pace kicks up a lot in this book, and I'm excited to read it again and find out if I'm right. Then I have Magic for Liars by Sarah Gailey. This is fantasy school, murder mystery, PI kind of thing. I've recently scheduled this up to go on my Bookstagram, so I was thinking about it. So I was very pleased when this came out of the jar. It is showing up very red on camera in contrast with my jumper. I'm looking forward to reading this again. I read it very quickly the first time I read it. It's not long. California Noir, which isn't a genre I have much experience with, but add some magic in and I am here for it. Then I have The Orphanage of Gods by Helena Coggan. This is an Illumicrate edition, sprayed edges, but I did read a review copy of this just before it came out and I enjoyed it pretty well. I don't remember much about it, and again, this is kind of my, do I keep this on my shelf? Do I enjoy this enough to want to reread it again and again? This is like YA superpowers kind of dystopian kind of stuff, if I'm remembering correctly. Then I thought I would pull, because I'm a glutton for punishment apparently, I thought I would pull 2 more books off my shelf that are kind of in that similar vein of, do I want to reread this? Am I just holding on to this for, you know, sentimental reasons? Is this for me? Now that I have the time to reread, because my TBR is much smaller, it's time to start thinking about what I'm keeping and what I might want to unhaul at the end of the year. I have Raw by Cora Carmack. This was a Fairy Loot book right when I started doing Fairy Loot, and it's a YA fantasy romance with storm magic, and I apparently gave it 5 stars when I read it the first time, which I don't know if I'm going to do that again, but let's find out together. And I also pulled off a memory called Empire by Arcady Martin. Again, I don't know how you pronounce their name. Oops. This I want to reread because I wanted to reread it since I first read it, and it's a book that deals with memory, which, since we have discovered in my various readings of things, I find very difficult to process. I'm interested to see how it goes reading it a second time. I know the sequel is either out or coming out very soon, so I'm kind of reading this in preparation for if I want to read that or not, and also in my adventures to work out what on earth it is I want to read. You may have noticed I haven't talked about any owned TBR, really, other than rereads. So in theory, I could tell you that my TBR is completely finished. I could tell you I have achieved that. I would be lying, but I could tell you. Anyway, basically, I haven't been counting a set of books on my TBR because I didn't want to count them, and I kind of forgot that they existed because they have been in my backdrop the whole time, hiding in plain sight. So they have a bunch of paper on them because of where I've been using them as a decorative item. But I own all 10 of the How to Train Your Dragon books, and I've never read them. They're in this like box set, as you can see. I taped stuff to it. It's been sat on my shelf doing nothing. I got these for my birthday or for Christmas from my in-laws, and then, as I say, just forgot about them. I think I have read the first one, but I can't remember, so I am going to have to read all 10 of them. And what I've done is I've just decided to stick them all on my TBR. And if I read them all, then I read them all. And if I don't, then they push on to next month, and that's absolutely fine. So will September be the month I finish my TBR? Maybe. Would it actually be honestly saying I finished my TBR this month? More honestly than it has been in previous months. So yes, that is 22 books. I think with the How to Train Your Dragon, I'm going to read as many as I can, but I am expecting a couple of big review copies, and I have quite a lot of big books in this pile, so perhaps we shall see how we go with that. I know my TBRs are normally a lot longer than this, but given that the majority of this is rereads, or things I've talked about in other videos, it just made more sense to do it as a bit more of a chill video. I did want to just shout out Justine for sending me this lovely book basket. It's a TBR basket thing. It's not going to fit all of this in it because, hello, no. But I am going to put some stuff in it, and it just sits nicely, and it's a really nice, satisfying thing to read down. Oh, so yes, thank you, Justine, for being an excellent friend with excellent taste. My battery is about to die, so I must sign off very quickly. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment below if you've got any of these on your TBR, if you're reading anything exciting at the moment. I'd love to know. You can also, while you're down there, check out all of my social media. You can subscribe. It makes me feel loved and appreciated. That's all from me, and I will see you in the next one. It's gonna be some bloopers now. Focus on my face, please. There we go. This dust jacket is on upside down. Well. Then I have Magic for Liars by Sarah Gailey. This is, yes, Gailey. So I have Raw by Cora Carmack. I always thought it's McCormack. Interesting. Made it. The camera didn't die.